Thanks for listening to the Chiro Hacker Lab podcast, where Dr. Tirado is giving doctors instant access to the tools and tips to hack their practices to success. So if you're wondering whether you have what it takes to become a chiro hacker, we invite you to visit us at www.chirohackerlabs.com.
Hey guys, Dr. Jason Tirado. It's great to be back. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is success, right? Success and successful chiropractors. And the main idea of today's talk is actually going to be how successful chiropractors, or just success in general, can sometimes be very, very lonely. And a lot of these practice owners are very successful, right? And throughout the years, I have met very, very successful practice owners, more successful than myself. And some of these people are really incredible. And, you know, when you take a look at these face value, and I'm talking about both men and females. In fact, just to let you know, the most successful practitioner that I have ever met in my lifetime is a woman. Okay. So, you know, success is not gender specific, right? Let me be really clear about that. Most successful practitioner I ever met, and it was a woman, and all she wanted to do was help me out. That was when I first began my practice. That's it. Wasn't afraid of competition, wasn't afraid of anything. She just wanted to help me out. She just wanted to help out chiropractors. She wanted to give back to the profession. Absolutely fabulous, right? We should all be that way. But I'm sure that you've met successful chiropractors throughout your life and throughout your career. And, you know, when you take a look at them at face value and you see what they do in their practices, they all seem to be doing what even the average practitioner does, or even the struggling practitioner does. What they do, and this is just what you can see, what they do differently than the average chiropractor is that they just do it in a really, really big way. And maybe they might do it in a little bit different way, but whatever it is that they're doing, they're just really doing it in a big way. And that's one of the reasons why they become very, very successful. I mean, that's not the reason why they become successful, but you can see that they adjust patients, they provide similar services to you, and they have very large practices, and they are very, very successful because those chiropractors do those things and create a successful practice where nobody really sees what they're doing on the back end. You know, that's the reason why a lot of successful chiropractors feel like they're all alone. They feel like they're all alone because people can't understand, or they can't even see what it is that they're doing. And so one of the reasons why they feel like they're so alone is because, well, let's face it, there's not a whole lot of successful chiropractors in our profession. Everybody should be successful in our practice, right? Why doesn't our practice lend to having extremely successful practitioners in abundance, you know, both male and female? Why don't we have an abundance of super successful practitioners inside our practice? You know, why is that? Why are those people in a minority? And it's because they think differently, right? And they do things differently, and they see our profession completely differently. And they actually, more than likely, see the entire world differently than the way we look at the world. I mean, they don't look for consensus amongst, their peers, amongst their colleagues, because these successful doctors know inside and out that most of the doctors that are around them, most of their colleagues, are probably wrong about everything. And so these successful chiropractors are typically, they're going to listen to the market. They truly understand the market. They can interpret the market. And when the market shifts, they can shift with the market. And so they are very, very market driven. And they are not really driven by what goes on in the chiropractic profession. They don't listen to the industry norms. They don't listen to the indoctrination that takes place inside our profession. To be successful, you've got to be okay with that. Because reality is sometimes when you think like that, you can turn a lot of people off. And and a lot of times, because there aren't a lot of people that think along those lines and they buy into the industry norms in our profession, what happens is those doctors feel very lonely, because there's not a lot of people that speak their language. So I hope that makes sense, right? I hope this makes sense to you. So, one of the things that I find very, very common, a list of things that guys that I coach that are doing very, very well have in common. And it's no big secret, and it's not a super success, it's not a super sexy list, but there's usually 10 things that that I have found in practicing for the past 30 years and coaching guys that do extremely well in practice. And most of this you already know, but just that you just don't do it. And so number one is they all strive for consistency. They're focused on meeting their objectives, and nothing breaks them off of being very, very consistent. And number two, they always set, they've got their goals set out for what they want to do. And you've heard that, set your goals. But each one of these doctors, they actually set daily goals, right? Daily goals of what they need to do for the day and what they want to accomplish for the day. And look, that's not a list of 10 things. Sometimes that's a list of just one thing, one all-important, all-encompassing thing that they want to get done for the day. And when they do that, they've basically accomplished their daily goal. Number three, they never burn a bridge. These doctors nurture their relationships no matter what. They nurture their relationships with their tribe, their patients, and they nurture their relationships with their business contacts. They never burn a bridge, ever. They can keep friends, they can keep business associates for 30, 40 years without burning a bridge, because they always know how important their relationships are, the power of their relationships, to be able to ask for things and get information from them. Number four, they all display high emotional intelligence. Now, they won't tell you that because most of these doctors that are very successful, they're humble and remain to be humble, and they want to be humble. In fact, a lot of these doctors that show high emotional intelligence, what they'll tell me is that they're average, that there's nothing really special about them. But you know what? I got to tell you something. They're very, very intelligent. Number five is they all take action on what they're going to do. Nothing is really solved. They don't really ever get overwhelmed, right? Because they always take action on things, no matter what. And they basically attain their results. And number six, they practice positive self-talk. Now, look, I know positive self-talk might sound a little bit hokey, right? But if you talk to these doctors, they're always going to tell you, hey, today's going to be a great day, or, I am successful, because of this, or they always have a good frame of mind or a positive frame of mind, because I believe that they know that really affects them consciously and that their conscious mind affects their subconscious mind. So they constantly try to stay in the optimistic, positive realm to be able to program their subconscious mind. I think they really understand that. Number seven is they all stay healthy. All of these doctors, they all stay healthy. They're not, some doctors are a little over the top. They've got their trainers, right? They do their CrossFit. But most of them aren't so extreme. But the doctors that I'm talking about that are successful, almost all of them stay very, very healthy. They eat well. Some of these doctors have chefs. They work out at least 4 to 5 days a week. They're not very, very overweight. And they understand that staying healthy is part of their success. And so number 8 is they all meditate. And any doctor that I coach, I always start them on a meditation plan first thing in the morning, at least 20 minutes. Or if they can't meditate, they'll start with maybe 5 minutes and work their way up to 20 minutes. But all of these successful chiropractors, what they have in common is they do meditate. Number 9 is they all act on small improvements to reach their goals. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. Ever hear the saying, how to eat an elephant one chuck at a time? Well, what these doctors do is they all do a technique called chunking. And what they do is they take large tasks that they have to do, and they basically chunk it down into small bite-sized pieces, and they do a little bit every single day, just a little bit every single day. And they'll put that on their daily calendar, and that's what they'll work on every single day. And so that way, nothing's really particularly hard for them. They don't say that basically nothing's impossible for them, because they chunk things down into sizable pieces, daily tasks that they know that they're capable of achieving. They basically make small continual improvements every single day, and they never feel like they're overwhelmed. Number 10, and that is they all wake up early, all of them waking up early. Now, I have always woke up early. I remember back in chiropractic college, I used to love to wake up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to start studying. Some docs would basically study all night until the wee hours in the morning. Me, I'd rather get my sleep. I'd rather wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, be refreshed, and start studying. Somehow that quiet time in the morning, those wee hours of the morning, and even today, I still practice that. I wake up really early in the morning, those wee hours of the days. it just seems it's a lot easier to accomplish things during that time. There's a lot less distractions and there's a lot less noise. And so I recommend that for you. And that's number 10. One more point to point out is that regardless of whatever faith that you have, all of these doctors have a faith in God. They really do. They accept Jesus Christ and they rely on God for the things inside their life. They realize that things are out of their control. And they realize that no matter how hard they work, no matter what they do, it's always going to be God's decision, and it's always going to be God's will. And they do that. They work hard, but they always realize that it's in God's hands ultimately of what happens. And so they pray during their meditation, and they pray and they surrender to God every single day. And look, surrendering to God, that's not necessarily easy for people that are very, very highly motivated. But for the people that really, really are successful, they understand how important it is to have a relationship with God, that it actually makes surrendering to God their challenges a lot easier. It's good to have someone to go to. And that's basically about it. That's about everything I was going to say. I hope this stuff is good for you guys, and I hope it makes sense. Again, to be successful, sometimes you gotta be okay with feeling alone at sometimes, and you really have to embrace it. And I think that you really have to be able to use it to your advantage, because when you're alone, when you're in that quiet time, when you develop these good habits that I mentioned, like that is when the breakthroughs take place, right? That's when the success is really made, right? Success actually comes before you become successful, really, because it really happens inside your mind. Because if you can't visualize it, right, if you can't see it, then it's never really going to happen. I'm Dr. Jason Tirado. If I could help you out with your practice or building your practice, and it's not where you want it to be, you know what? Just shoot me a message down below, DM me. We can talk and have a quick chat for a few minutes, or you can go to Chirohacker Lab and you can actually go get more information over there. That's it for today, guys. I will see you next time.